Welcome back to the field. It's July 20th. This past week, we've started to see a lot of tassels emerge, pollination start to happen in a lot of fields across the county. Some of the things that we've been noticing early is we really have had a fair amount of uneven pollination, and that always happens a little bit with those earliest fields. Some difference in emergence, those things that kind of went away the last month. You start to see those uneven fields again once pollination comes around. Some of the things to think about, as we start to see pollen drop. We've had a lot of calls already here Monday on temperatures. We're well into the hundreds today. We were yesterday, and then later in the week here, it looks like we got some more 100-degree days. So thinking about an effect of temperature on pollination, not much we can do about that. But the biggest thing is the biggest impact pollination that we can affect is obviously moisture, soil moisture. So in our irrigated fields, keeping the soil moisture as high as possible is a key component of that good pollination. But when we look at temperatures, ideal temperature range of ideal pollination is 77 to about 85 or 86 degrees. That encourages the longer lifespan of that pollen when it drops to get to those silks before it's no good. Some of the things that obviously, like nighttime temperatures is a huge driver in that. We usually do cool down, below 75 degrees is kind of that threshold. Last night obviously were warm all night. So not an ideal night for probably pollination to occur and that pollen to stay viable a long time. But when we get into normal patterns here, usually we don't have any problem with pollination or the viability of pollen as it drops. So some of the other things that we've noticed, this is from our field by our office, which is stripped with Pioneer 13777 PCUE. And then the channel 21525 Tricepta on the right here. So some of the things, this is a little bit later pollinating than the channel 21525. We've seen some of this. We saw it last year. A lot of people referred to it as tassel wrap. Really didn't impact pollination, total pollination, or we didn't have any incidences where we saw a lot of mispollinated kernels. But once again, we're seeing a lot of plants with a pretty tight whirl still. Silks are out. It does look like a lot of these silks are pollinated. So just something to keep in mind at this point. You have some plants where the tassel is completely out. Some of these tassels that are kind of still wrapped up, really not able to drop pollen. So just make a mental note of it as you're checking your fields this week. The 21525 Tricepta, it's an early pollinating 115 day. It actually pollinates more like a 110 day hybrid. So in this field, the side-by-sides, this started pollination a good 5 or 7 days earlier than the 113 day hybrid. But you can see tassel emergence, silks timed perfect as far as silk emergence, and pollen starting to drop. So some things to keep in when you're making mental notes, checking fields, that how even is pollination or tasseling happen, how long are those silks, some things like that. And obviously we need Mother Nature to help with the temperature, but where possible, just keep your soil moisture as close to field capacity as possible, which we get into temperatures like this and it's really hard because here Monday, 103 I think is estimated high. Our estimated ET today is about 4/10 of an inch. So most guys are probably deficit irrigating the last few days, right? At 4/10 of an inch, a lot of times we don't have that well capacity to keep up with that. So just some things to keep in mind. Obviously, the middle of this week looks a lot more favorable for weather. And hopefully we get some rain and can catch up our soil moisture profile. So with that, we'll wrap up this week's Agronomy Alert. Thank you.